Hello, what's up, guys? Welcome back to this episode. So, on this episode, we are going to combine the reinforcement panel and also the reinforcement to create a rebar reinforcement in a column basis. So, we are going to find how to create a column basis with a reinforcement rebars. So, let's move right away into our reinforcements template here. So, click here and open your template here as well. Okay, so the next thing that you are going to do, come to the east elevation and copy your level to the down. Name this level as top of foundation. So name this level as top of foundation. So after doing this, you just have to come to your view area. Come to your view area, plan views, then you select structure floor plan. Then you click on OK here. Now the top of foundation has been added into the project browser. So what you do next is we are going to create just two grid lines. So draw one grid line like this, vertical and horizontal grid line like this. You zoom in to the midpoint or the intersection of the grid line. You come back to the structure tab or the ribbon tab. Then you look for isolated footing. So select one isolated footing and place it at the intersection area like this. After doing this, come back to the column 2 or the ribbon 2 of the column. Select this. Then you look for 300 by 450 column. You place that one too. But first of all, just determine the height here first. Then you place it somewhere here. Or you can do at grade. Then you select the grade like this and you do finish. You do escape a couple of times. So you select the column here. Then you check if everything is okay. So I'll select level 2. Then the top offset, do it 0 here like that. Then maintain the base offset as 0. So after doing this, you come to your 3D area and check if what you want is good for you. So I'm going to change this one to realistic. After doing this realistic, come to your visibility graphics, and there are two things that you have to do here. Under the structure foundation, structure columns, you have to reduce the transparency to 80. And also with the structure foundation, also reduce the transparency to 80. So with this, you just do OK from here. The reason why we are doing this is we are going to place the rebars in this. So we are reducing the transparency to see the rebars after we place them. So back to the top of foundation. The next thing that we do, as we said in our introduction, is you are going to use the reinforcement section. We are going to create our cover here. So I'm going to do add, just do add, then do maybe 50 mm concrete cover. Then you change the thickness here to 50 mm. Then you do OK. After doing this, select the column and the column base. Then you check left from the properties palette, we have structural section here. So I'm going to change the rebar cover, the top face to 50 mm, 50 mm, 50 mm. Okay. So after doing this, we are going to place our rebar in it now. So I'll click on this rebar, then do OK here. Just click on OK. So it's going to open a rebar shape browser at your right hand for you. It depends on how you position your various project browser. And when I click here, my rebar browser deactivate, but when I click the three dot again, it brings it back for me. Aside that, I can also work here by changing the shapes here without not using the rebar shape browser. Okay, so the shape that we are going to use is we are going to use shape code or a shape of U, which is M17. But before we do that, I have an image in which I'm going to show you. We are going to try and replicate the same thing here. So this is what we are going to try and do the same thing here as well. So with this column base here, I'll pick my rebar again and do OK. So when you check here, it seems you are using a different shape. So let's look for this type of shape. So we are working with the blue shape bar first. Let's see if we can find that type of shape. So I think it might be this one. So after getting your shape, what you have to do is by defining the placement plane in which you want to work with. So because the bars are at the far reference, we are going to click on the far cover reference. Then on the placement orientation, we are going to use this one as well. So when you bring your rebar into the column bases and you send it to the top, it gives you a horizontal position. When I bring it to the left, it's giving a vertical position. So that's how it works. So we are going to do that. But you can also determine the size of your rebar that you are going to use. So when you check the properties palette or the type selector area, there are a series of sizes of rebars that we have. So we are going to use the 16 mm. You can also change the diameter here as well. So I'm going to do 16 here. So after doing this, you can also come to the dimension of your rebars here, but we are not going to do this one. Let's place in our rebar first so that we come to the properties and change various sizes of our rebar. So I'm going to place one vertical and one horizontal. To check if I've done the right thing, I just have to come to the 3D section. In order not to confuse ourselves as a beginners, I'm going to select the rebar. I just did the two rebars, select similar, and let's use a simple shape code. So I'm going to use a simple shape code for you to know how it works. So I'm going to use M17 and start the whole process again. So select this rebar and delete them. Select this one and also delete them. Okay, so back to the rebar again. Do OK from this section and look for M17. Now back to the reference plane. I'm going to use the far cover reference, which is beneath the base, and with this I'm going to use perpendicular. Okay, so I'll click here as well, and also the horizontal rebars too as well. In order to rotate your rebars, you can also use the space button to rotate how you want to see your rebar here. Okay, so I'll just click on OK from here. So I'll go back to my 3D and see if how I want it, I've gotten it. So the next thing that we are going to do here is to come to the properties palette area. Close this, close. I'm searching for something here. So let's select the rebar and see. So when you select the rebar, you just have to come graphics and you select the view in which you are working. So you are working on the 3D view. So I'm going to change this one to this. Check the view section box here as well. Then I'll do OK. After doing this, I'll select the rebar again and right click and select graphics override. So select the project line, then select solid as well. Change this one to a color of red and also increase the line weight to 3 mm. After doing this, just have to do apply. So that changes the color of your rebar in the 3D. So we are going to do same for the other rebars as well. So right click again and do override graphics by element, projection lines, solid. We are going to change this color to somewhere pink or magenta, then change this one to 3 as a line weight. So after doing this, you can come back to your plan view of your base. So the next approach we are going to work on is to select the horizontal rebar, and we are going to present it in a way. So under the presentation area, I'm going to select this show rebar and also select none. So with this, it helps me to what show only one rebar as well, and I'll do click on this and do finish. I'm going to do same for the vertical rebars as well. So I'll select on this one, then under the presentation panel, I'll click on show rebars and do select none. Select here as well and do finish. Also under the rebar set, as we explained in the introduction, you can also set your spacing. So if you're a structural engineer, you have to determine the spacing for your rebars to reduce cost in building. So if you are using a spacing of 200 mm, just select here 200 mm as well. So what I've been doing is you just have to first do your spacing presentation before you do your rebar presentation. So you have to do your rebar set before you do your presentation in order it changes or it increases the workload on you. Also, we have something called host. So the host depends on the rebar in which you have set in position. So right now the host that these rebars are in is the column basis as well, or the isolated footing. We talked about constraints. So with the constraints, I'm going to use the constraints for you to understand how the constraints work. So with the constraint, when I click on the constraint here, it gives me a node in order to position or to reorient my rebars here. So that's what the constraint does here as well. And also I can reduce the height or the length of my rebar. So this is what the constraint do. So it depends on what you are doing. It depends on how you want to see your rebars. It depends on where you want to position your rebars. These are various tools that Revit has provided or Autodesk has provided to help us detail everything in Revit as well. In case you are having a varying or you want to have a varying rebars, you can also use this one to do a varying rebars as well. So we are moving on to placing our rebars in the column. So I'll click on the rebar here again, and we are going to use a shape of M17A. So I'll click on this. After clicking on this, I'm going to change my placement plane to current plane, and also change my placement orientation to parallel to work plane. So after doing this, I can see the shape has been drawn, but I don't want it that way. So let me change this one to parallel to cover and click OK, and just click one and also click one here. So placing a reinforcement in a column basis or a column determines the design in which the structure engineer have done. That will determine the number of reinforcement you place in the column. So after doing this, just press escape a couple of times here. Then you come into your 3D and check if how the rebar has been positioned is how you want it. So you can select the rebar here and use the space button to orient it. Click on the space bar to send the hook to the down. So after doing this, I'll come back to my top of foundation again. Select my first rebar in which I place, then move this one to the end somewhere here, and move this one to this end. I can use my arrow key as well. So after doing this, I can come into my 3D and check. So we are going to also create a graphic display for this rebar as well. So I'll select both of them here, then right on the contextual menu and select graphics display or by element. I select solid from here and I'll choose a black color for this. Increase the line width 33. So after doing this, I'm going to increase the size of my hook to 450. So don't be bothered by trying your hands on what I'm teaching you. Just practice it and you get your hands on it. So after drawing this, we are going to place in the stirrups or the length for our column. So with that, I'll pick the rebar here again and I'll look for the shape of the length, which is MT1 here, and I'll click here. So with that, I'll change this one to parallel to work plane and maintain the current work plane as well. So I'll select the mid of my column and press escape a couple of times. So what I'm going to do next is to try and bring my L-shaped rebars into the stirrups. And also do the same for the upwards rebar. After that, I'll check the properties of my stirrups here if it's okay for me. So I'm going to keep this one to 50 and also this one to 50. So the size of the column is 300 by 450. So we have, when we subtract our concrete cover from it 50-50, we are going to get 300, 350 from one side and 200 from one side. Okay, so let's check again. Okay, that's 200 from here, 200 and 350 from here. Okay, so in order to change the gene, come into the construction area. There is something called override hook length. Click on here. Now you have the chance to change this one to 50. Okay, so with this, come to the edit type and check if you want the same size. If you don't want the same size, you have to change it to 10 mm. Hook length. Okay, let's maintain these properties for now. Change this one to 50. Okay, so for now we are going to maintain this one. And also position my rebars as well. So back into the 3D, when I select my stirrups here and the rebar set, I can change the spacing by using the maximum spacing here. Then I'm going to do 300. then it changes it for me. So we are going to change the graphic display for the syrups to a different color, solid first, and we are going to change it to blue, pink, orange rather, then change this one to so in case you are working with a series of column bases, you can select this particular column basis and copy it to the other rebars. So back into our plan view, I'll select this one again and come to the presentation area, select none and choose here as well. So now you can tag your rebars here. So we are going to change the schedule mark. Let's see if this one will work. B1. That will be for the schedule mark 3. So another way, this is how to create your column bases in Revit. So you can also dimension it as well. Okay, so guys, thank you for buying this course, purchasing this course, and watching. I hope you're going to practice this course and also do whatever I've done here as well. So see you in the next video. Peace, shalom, bye.